Is it me or has Shakur Stevenson been tripping ever since the Teofimo Lopez fight got announced? In this video, we're going to talk about it. What up, Fight World? It's your boy Ego, and I'm back with some more boxing. Now, Shakur Stevenson been tripping. He been tripping. No other way to put it. He been tripping. I made a video about it, but check that channel or on the channel. There was an interview where he was talking to Ariel Helwani or somebody, and Shakur was like being asked about Teofimo doing them racially motivated rants. Do you think he's his, right? And Shakur started vouching for Teofimo. Like, nah, he ain't on that. I know him deep down inside, and he's not racist, right? And I thought that was weird. And I hate when people take that stance when somebody has a occurrence involving race, and then they'll say something like, "Oh, I know the person," and that well, I hate that. I hate when people, like, for example, right? If you work with somebody and you talk to them every day in the break room, they're cool. They're talking about new movies, music. You might go to lunch together. They are cool people. But then one day that person doesn't show up for work, and you find out through the grapevine at your job, because you know at jobs gossip spread quickly. We know that. You turn on the news, find out through your job that this person is being charged with unaliving somebody, right? That's like saying, "Oh, I know Tom. He would never do that. I went to lunch with him. That's not like Tom." But I've always hated when people take that type of stance. It'll be like so-and-so did something and unalived their wife or DV their wife, right? And then people will be like, "Oh, I can't picture him doing that." Why would you? Like, if the wife ain't at the job and you aren't at their house, why would they show that side of their personality at work? Like, if you work at a lumber yard or you work at Kohl's or whatever, wherever you work, there would be no need for you to see that side. Most people keep certain things like that. Like, you have closet racists who they're not vocal about it. They're not going to be outright about it, right? But deep down inside, they got these ignorant beliefs towards this race or this race. So I've always hated when people try to vouch for things that you can't possibly know. Even if you work with somebody, you went to school with them, you don't really know what people are doing behind closed doors. You don't know how they really feel. People be like, "Oh, Tio's not like that. Ryan Garcia's not like that." But what they showed you was like that. So why did they do that? Oh, Tio's just promoting. So in the history of boxing, there's many guys that have been shown, Hector Camacho and all the Adrian Broner, all these other guys can find ways to promote, build bigger brands than Tio has, and they don't have to be involved with nothing that gets even misconstrued as racism. So I thought that was weird from Shakur as a black man to be like, "Oh, Tio's not like that." You really don't want to go down that rabbit hole because you can't justify half of what Tio was saying when he had that whole run. Now, this is what Shakur said that caught my attention and was sent to me, and I feel like he's tripping. Roll the clip.
Yeah, bigger name, and also he got the more accolades. He's been undisputed before. He's on won belts at 35.
Boom. Shakur is a good little fighter, but he cannot get out of his way. He cannot get out of his own way, people. This man said that Tio Lopez was undisputed before. No, he wasn't. Why are we doing this? I've talked about this. I've been a channel. I don't know if y'all understand. I've been a channel before these guys were pros. You do understand that. You do know that. Before these guys had professional careers, your boy Ego was covering boxing, right? So, with that being said, I've been here every single day. I've documented their early careers, people before them's careers, early, mid, late, the end of people's careers. I've been there. I've been there when Crawford wasn't even at welterweight. I was at Crawford fights. Now he went all the way to 168. You know what I mean? I've been here for these moments. I am boxing, right? So I find it weird when we have this revisionist history that I know to not be the case. Tio was never undisputed. Why are we even pretending that? Devin Haney had a WBC belt. Therefore, you cannot be undisputed. How can you be undisputed and there's a muff dispute? It don't even make sense. If you look up the word undisputed, right? Let me type it up real quick. Dictionary. From Oxford Languages, undisputed, not disputed or called in question, accepted. The example they give, the undisputed heavyweight champion of the world. You cannot be undisputed if there is a legitimate dispute as far as, hey, there's a person out there with a valid actual belt that you do not have. That is, in fact, a dispute. Not like some like weird belt. The WBC, they made a lot of weird moves over the years, franchise champions for Canelo, and they twisted things up and made it confusing. But Devin Haney was supposed to be able to fight Lomachenko. Lomachenko didn't fight him. Devin became what people say the email champ or whatever, but he had the belt. So Teofimo was unified when he fought Lomachenko, but he couldn't be undisputed when Devin was out there with that belt. Everybody that knows boxing knows this. So now that Shakur is fighting him, he's doing an interview and he talking about Tio was undisputed. Cap.
Yeah, bigger name, and also he got the more accolades. He's been undisputed before. He's done one belts at 35, one belts at 30, at 40. So he's more accomplished. So I know that would be a better name on my resume.
Yeah, a lot of people saying that this is going to be a tough fight for you.
I mean, they absolutely right to have their opinion. I already know this guy's good. I done came up in the amateurs with him. I chose this for that reason. Like, I chose this because I wanted to challenge myself. I wanted to put myself in a situation to where I'm able to raise my game up to another level. So that was my whole purpose.
Do you feel like you got to be real dominant in this fight? Because, I mean, Tio, he from New York, and, you know, you having a fight in New York and the judges, man. You never know, yo.
He not from New York, but he not from New York. He not from New York. He probably was born in New York, but like being from New York is like I'm raised and I'm brought up in New York, and I knew him for years and years, and I always seen him out of Florida. Like that's where he was out of, Florida. So I don't look at him like a fighter that's from New York. So, but do I gotta be dominant? I think every fight that I set up, I want to be dominant. I don't care who in front of me. I want to dominate. I want to beat you to where judges don't feel like they can rob me. So I always got that feeling. I always got that chip on my shoulder.
If you do win this fight, what do you think it does for your career?
I think it put me top 5 pound for pound. I think it puts me like one of the best fighters in my era. Yeah.
So, I mean, one of the best fighters in my era. I mean, I don't know about all that. Pound for pound, Crawford retired, top 5. I don't know. It's possible. That's possible. But I think you have to do more to be like best fighter of my era type thing. Like the game is so washed right now in boxing. I'm here to tell you, people are like living and dying by one fight. One fight don't make you the man, bro. Unless you fought one of them like legend. I'm talking about Muhammad Ali, Sonny Liston. You fought Hagler, Sugar Ray Leonard, and beat him. You know what I mean? You have to fight a consensus best type of person. Like a person that everybody in boxing was like, that's the GOAT. You got to fight someone like that. Maybe a one fight can take you to legendary status. You know what I mean? But that's really, really hard to do. Like, for example, no disrespect to him, but Hasim Rahman, he knocked out Lennox Lewis, who is an all-time great, maybe even the greatest heavyweight of all time, right? But nobody really puts Hasim Rahman in the top 5 heavyweight of all time conversation, because he later got knocked out by Povetkin. He later got knocked out by Lennox Lewis. You see what I'm saying? He's a good fighter, but the point I'm making is it's very hard to establish yourself as GOATed off of one fight. And even though Hasim Rahman had a quality win over Lennox Lewis, that was still one fight. So I tend to look at the collective of your career more than like one person. Like Shakur will be like, I beat Zepeda. Y'all said I couldn't beat him. I'm top 5. I'm top 3. I'm a legend. Like, bro, Zepeda ain't no like world beater where everybody was checking for Zepeda. Like, get out the way, move, get out the way. Zepeda's coming. In fact, he didn't even look good in his 2 fights that preceded you with Tevin Farmer, and he got dropped in the first one. So this new generation has a very delusional sense of like entitlement and like self-worth. And I'm not saying they should not have confidence. Definitely have confidence, but they're just very quick to anoint themselves as far as like, I'm the best ever, even though I don't really have the tangible things on my resume to prove that. As far as T.O. being undisputed, I'm over it. It just wasn't true. It wasn't the case. I understand you're trying to sell the fight, but we can't do the revisionist history where you say these things. And the funny thing is, I feel like a lot of these boxers, they know, because this video was with Art of Dialogue, and he follows me. So shout out to him. There's no smoke with him. But I feel like these boxers know who they can say certain things with in interviews. And it's typically not channels that are boxing only or primarily boxing. Like they'll go on Say Cheese or Dialogue, Art of Dialogue. You know what I mean? They'll go to like Sway or Breakfast Club, because these aren't like boxing first media outlets, right? So there's no one to really like fact check you. And that's what I noticed. Like Shakur could be like, oh, T.O. was undisputed. But if he interviewed with me, I would say something like, yo, huh? How is T.O. undisputed when Devin was right there with the WBC? But it just gets passed over when you don't know enough about boxing to know the chronological history. And, you know, it's a lot. Boxing, there's a lot of movement and a lot of things that went on each year. You know what I mean? So if you're not tapped in and haven't been like hardcore boxing, you may not know these things. And I feel like boxers, a lot of them take advantage of that because they know I'm on the Drew Barrymore show. I can say whatever. She ain't gonna know. You know what I mean? But anyway, let me know if you think Teofimo Lopez was undisputed. I need to read them comments to see how he was undisputed when I have a dispute and I explain it in this video. Peace.